stupid car features. You'll regret not knowing sooner. Car companies spend millions convincing us that every new feature is revolutionary. But behind the glossy ads and showroom sparkle, many of these so-called upgrades are unreliable gimmicks that end up costing you money, comfort, and sometimes even safety. So today, we're counting down the 18 stupidest car features that sound great on paper, but in reality, you'll regret owning. 18. Steering wheel controls. Modern steering wheels are overloaded with buttons, volume, voice commands, cruise control, lane assist toggles, heated steering, even tiny scroll pads. Instead of making life easier, they've turned into cluttered control panels. The biggest issue? Every manufacturer does it differently. In one car, volume goes up and down. In another, it's left and right. Some buttons sit under your thumbs, others require finger gymnastics. And while you're searching for the right button, even for a second, your eyes leave the road. That's not safer, it's dangerous. Over time, these buttons also wear out. Sticky, delayed, or unresponsive. Suddenly, you can't control cruise or answer a call without taking your hands off the wheel. It's ironic, what was supposed to make driving simpler ends up being one more distraction and one more expensive thing to fix. 17. Lane Keeping Assist. Lane Keeping Assist was designed to gently nudge you back into your lane if you drift. Sounds good in theory. In practice, it's like letting a nervous driving instructor grab the wheel. Some systems barely do anything, others overreact, jerking you side to side like you're playing pinball with the lane markers. When cameras or sensors get dirty, or worse, fail entirely, you're left fighting against your own car. Owners of cars like the Acura MDX and GM models have reported systems so unreliable that many drivers disable them. Some even tape over the cameras. Instead of improving safety, lane keeping assist often creates confusion and frustration. Until the technology improves, it's better to think of it as a backup, not something you can rely on. 16. Panoramic glass roofs. Advertisers love showing happy families gazing at the stars through giant glass roofs. But in real life, you've basically turned your car into a rolling greenhouse. In summer, the cabin bakes. Even with a shade, you're sitting under what feels like a heat lamp. In winter, the glass radiates cold. Repairs? Astronomical. A cracked panoramic roof can cost $3,000 to replace. And here's the kicker. It reduces your car's structural rigidity, making it weaker in a rollover. Some even leak or rattle after just a few years. Sure, it looks great for marketing photos, but for everyday driving, it's expensive, impractical, and often a liability. 15. Engine start-stop systems. Every red light, your car shuts off. Every green light, it wakes back up. Supposedly, this saves gas, but the reality? It's brutal on your car's components. Your starter is firing thousands of extra times per month. Your battery is under constant heavy load. Oil pressure drops when the engine cuts off, leaving components starved of lubrication right when they need it most. Consumer studies show cars with start-stop systems wear through batteries up to 40% faster. Starters also fail earlier, and sometimes the system glitches, leaving drivers stranded at intersections. The worst part? The fuel savings are almost invisible, fractions of a mile per gallon. This system wasn't designed for you. It was designed so automakers could meet emissions tests. You pay the price in long-term reliability. 14. Dual clutch transmissions. DCTs. On the racetrack, dual clutch transmissions are brilliant, fast, precise, powerful, but in stop-and-go traffic, they're a disaster. Instead of smooth shifts, you get hesitation, jerks, and frustration. Ford's infamous power shift transmission became the center of lawsuits and recalls. Hyundai and Kia's DCTs have also been plagued with premature failures. Why? Because a DCT is essentially two manual transmissions working together, controlled by computers. More complexity means more failure points. Repairs aren't cheap. $2,000 to $5,000 is common. And unless you're regularly pushing your car at high performance levels, the supposed benefits of a DCT just don't matter in everyday driving. 13. Button or dial shifters. Imagine needing to reverse quickly, but instead of grabbing a shifter, you're fumbling with a button or twisting a dial. That's the problem with these futuristic designs. They're less intuitive, slower, and remove the tactile feedback drivers rely on. Traditional levers let you know by feel what gear you're in. Buttons and dials? You're relying on lights and screens. When electronics fail, you might not be able to shift at all. Chrysler even had to recall cars with confusing electronic shifters linked to rollaway accidents. It's a perfect example of design chasing style over safety and simplicity. 12. Air suspension systems. Air suspension feels like magic when it works, smooth, quiet, luxurious. But when it fails, it's a wallet-destroying nightmare. The system uses rubber air bladders, compressors, and sensors. One tiny leak in your car sags like a worn-out couch. The compressor then burns out trying to keep up, leading to even bigger failures. Repairs are brutal. $1,000 per wheel isn't unusual, and often one failure triggers a domino effect. Bladders, compressors, valves, they all start failing one after another. Yes, the ride is amazing, but for long-term ownership, air suspension is one of the least reliable features you can buy. 11. Gesture controls. Wave to change the radio station, swipe to adjust the volume. Sounds like science fiction, but in practice, it's comedy. Scratch your head, music changes. Adjust your glasses, the AC cranks up. The sensors can't tell the difference between casual movements and actual commands. Drivers end up waving frantically like air traffic controllers, while nothing works the way it should. And when the sensors glitch, which they often do, you're stuck frustrated, wondering why a simple button wasn't good enough. It's tech for the sake of tech, not for the sake of the driver. 10. Voice recognition. Voice commands were supposed to let you keep your hands on the wheel, but instead, they've turned into comedy routines. Call mom, you say. The car replies, calling Pizza Hut. Try to set navigation, and it misunderstands half the commands. J.D. Power studies show built-in voice recognition is one of the top complaints in modern cars. And here's the scary part. In an emergency, when you need it most, the system is least reliable. Instead of calling 911, it might try dialing a random contact. Most drivers eventually give up and use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto instead, because the built-in systems just aren't good enough. 9. Touchscreen-only climate controls. Old cars had knobs and buttons you could adjust without looking. Now, basic controls like temperature and fan speed are buried behind touchscreen menus. That means more time with your eyes off the road. And if the screen freezes, crashes, or dies completely, you lose access to heating, cooling, even defrost. Replacing a broken screen can cost thousands, all for a system that's less safe and less reliable than the physical knobs we had for decades. This isn't progress, it's regression dressed up as technology. 8. Electronic shifters. Mechanical shifters gave instant feedback. You could feel the gear change. Electronic shifters, they rely on screens, lights, and hope. They're less intuitive, and when they fail, you can't shift at all. Some designs are so confusing that they've caused rollaway accidents, leading to massive recalls. And here's the kicker. Some electronic shifters only work when the car is running. If your engine dies, you can't even change gears. Sometimes the simplest old-school solutions really are the best. 7. Digital gauge clusters. They look futuristic, colorful displays, customizable layouts, but one software glitch and your entire dashboard goes dark. No speed, no fuel level, no warning lights. Replacing an old analog gauge? Cheap and easy. Replacing a digital cluster? You're looking at computer module costs in the thousands. They may look cool, but analog gauges worked flawlessly for decades. Digital ones are expensive problems waiting to happen. 6. Turbocharged small engines. Automakers downsized engines and added turbos to squeeze out more power and efficiency. Sounds smart, until you realize what's happening under the hood. Smaller engines are working overtime. More heat, more pressure, more stress on every part. Turbos add complexity. Intercoolers, wastegates, blow-off valves, special oil systems. Each one is a new failure point. Yes, some turbos are reliable. Toyota and Honda make good ones, but many others trade long-term durability for short-term performance. A naturally aspirated engine may not look as exciting on paper, but it'll usually last longer and cost less to maintain. Electronic parking brakes. Pulling a lever was simple, reliable, and worked for 100 years. Now, electronic parking brakes use motors, sensors, and modules. When they fail, you can get stuck with a car that won't move, or worse, one that engages randomly. If your battery dies, some systems won't even release. Repairs aren't cheap either. A $20 cable replacement becomes a $400+ electronic fix, often requiring dealer-only tools. Once again, technology replaced something simple and bulletproof with something fragile and expensive. 4. Infotainment system failures. Infotainment screens have become the brains of modern cars. Navigation, audio, cameras, climate control, all tied into one system. But when that brain fails, everything fails. Frozen screens, random reboots, blackouts, it happens constantly. J.D. Power reports infotainment is the one most complained about category in new cars. Owners describe having to restart their cars like they're rebooting an old computer, just to get their radio or backup camera back. When your screen controls everything, even small glitches become big distractions and serious safety risks. 3. Heated seat failures. Heated seats sound like pure comfort, but they fail more often than you'd expect. Sometimes they just stop heating. Other times, they get dangerously hot, hot enough to cause burns. Repairs are costly, often $600 to $700 per seat, and some manufacturers use proprietary heating elements, making replacements difficult to source. Instead of luxury, they often turn into frustration and expensive repair bills. 2. Wireless charging pads. They sound convenient, just drop your phone and it charges, but in practice, they're slow, finicky, and prone to overheating. Phones with cases often don't charge at all. Misalign the phone by an inch, and nothing happens. Worse, heat buildup can damage your phone's battery, or the charger itself. Some systems have even been recalled due to fire risk. All while a $10 cable charges faster, cooler, and more reliably. It's hard to justify paying extra for a feature that works worse than the old solution. 1. Keyless entry and push-button start. The ultimate modern convenience and the ultimate headache.
lose signal, drop your fob, or suffer a glitch, and you can't start your car. Replacement fobs can cost $300 to $500, plus dealer programming. But the bigger issue? Theft. Criminals use relay attacks to capture the signal from your fob and unlock your car without breaking a window. In seconds, your car is gone. Traditional keys required effort to steal. Keyless systems practically invite hackers and thieves. For something so expensive and fragile, it's shocking how easily they fail. Sometimes, the old-school insert key in turn is still the most reliable solution. And that's our list of 18 car features that may look impressive, but in reality, they create more problems than they solve. Some of these are gimmicks, some are safety hazards, and others are just money pits waiting to happen. Which of these features annoys you the most? Have you ever had one fail on you? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to feature some of the craziest ones in a future video. And if you want to know which car features are actually worth having, check out my next video right here. Thanks for watching, and drive safe.